Exactly, the head of podcasting beats from the East with the Professor John Gotti, the king of RNG, the troll master, the data analyzer, and the conqueror of his own fate, the Terminator, Professor Omega, the cleaner. Hopefully today we get a chance to hear from Prof. Adamas.
I don't know what for, but I am the best podcasting machine, the least hype machine, and the wise man for your reigning, defending, undisputed podcasting champion, and soon to be reigning, defending, undisputed world heavyweight champion of the world, the tribal beast, the head of the table. Os Tranquilo, the Pied Piper of podcasting. The sanitizer, Doc Leesner. Acknowledge me. How you doing, man?
Trade deadline day. I feel good, man. I don't know. I guess I'm feeling pretty good. My Rockets are not doing anything too crazy, like I mentioned yesterday. So we're all right. No wheeling and dealing. No nothing stupid happening where they're trading somebody that I actually like, away to a team that I don't like. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see any of that. We don't want to see any of that crap. But obviously, so far today, we've had a 14 trade,
It was a 14 trade.
where Marvin Bagley the third finally gets out of Sacramento at a terrible time, by the way,
Mhm.
because now all of a sudden they're trying to build something. And I just texted you this when I saw this trade. I kind of like what the Kings are doing here, building around Fox to make sure he feels comfortable to a point where he doesn't leave. Sending Marvin Bagley out to the Pistons and receiving Dante DiVincenzo from the Bucks, Josh Jackson, and Trey Lyles from Detroit. I think what we saw last night, even when they got the W with, their Indiana Pacer new, you know, formed group there, they're looking pretty dang good. I'm not gonna
Um,
lie
I
here.
like the trade for. I like DiVincenzo going to Sacramento. He's a
I
really
was
good player.
surprised. I'm surprised they
Um,
did that. That's surprising.
I mean, Milwaukee got Serge Ibaka as a collateral. I mean, I feel like that's
I mean, that's good for. I think that's going to be good for the playoff runs
yep.
because he has the
Because
experience and
DiVincenzo was hurt
he
as well.
was. He was. But I mean, I don't know. Josh Jackson and Trey Lyles. I've always liked Trey Lyles. I just don't think he's found his spot yet. I mean, it's taken him a long time. I loved him coming out of college. I thought he was going to be a real primetime player,
Mm-hmm.
P2, PTP, right? But he just hasn't found his groove just yet. And the Clippers, I think they just get some veterans.
Some veterans coming off the bench to help out.
hmm Rodney Hood is always a pretty solid player. So, and again,
don't
surprised
don't ask
Milwaukee
the
gave
people.
him up.
Don't ask the people in Cleveland about that.
Yeah, we won't do that. But Marvin
Also,
Bagley the third, though,
yes,
getting out, at a time where you want to be around because they're rebuilding, but going to Detroit, to play in a new system. I mean, they
they
got.
have some pieces.
Yeah, he might be all right there. It's highly possible that might be a good spot for him.
We also have a breaking Woj bomb for another
Let's go.
trade that happened,
Let's go, Woj.
as the Toronto Raptors are trading Gordon Dragic and a protected 2022 first round pick to the Spurs for Thaddeus Young, Drew Eubanks, and a 2022 second round pick via the Pistons.
Yeah,
The
and then they
pick,
talked about.
the pick is 1 through 14 protected in 2022, 1 through 13 in 2023, and will turn into 2 seconds beyond that.
Yeah, and a lot of people talked about Dragic being, dealt, and even this talks about him being bought out. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll have to
Yeah.
wait and
Unfortunately
see.
for Thaddeus Young, he actually loses his playoff bonus potential. uh, in his contract because that is now voided. He's on an expiring. So Daddy's Young's contract is an expiring contract, so that's what Cap believes. For the Raptors, which I believe they needed to do that because they did pay Fred Van Fleet over the off season, which well deserved. Well deserved. Let's see what else happened. Yeah, and a lot of the other trade. So we just talk about the initial trade that we talked about at the top of the call, the 14 trade, that is also due to cap relief as well. Bagley and DiVincenzo are both heading into the offseason as restricted free agents. DiVincenzo is at 4.7 million. Trey Lyles is at 2.5 mil. Looks like it's a 2.6 trade exception. And
Hmm.
Josh Jackson is $3 million. Serge Ibaka is $9.7 million plus the bonus. Is Rodney Hood is 1.7. Semi Ojale is 1.7 million, and Marvin Bagley Jr. is 11.3 mil.
Like I said, I'm looking forward to Marvin Bagley. I don't know if they're gonna buy him out. I know Dragic, like I just mentioned, they're gonna probably get he's probably gonna get bought out and get picked up by a contender. Not trying to
Well,
play the Spurs out, but they don't need any Spurs don't need any guards right now.
no,
Yeah.
no, I think their guard
I,
play has been excellent.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see, what happens here. Again, I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is that there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of, people throwing names out, people just throwing things, pretty much throwing things against the wall to see if they stick. And we talked about this all morning. Russell Westbrook being one of those names who didn't play last night, and of course the Lakers still lost despite him not playing, shooting quote unquote bricks. I'm a casual Laker watcher, so I can't speak to what happens on a night to night basis. But looking at the stats, it looks pretty similar to how it normally looks for him.
Yeah,
Um, you know, about 10 to 20 points. He's not the player that, of course, that he was, years ago. Obviously, playing in a different system, but honestly, the only time I see him is when, the media or social media has him shooting bricks, which I told you. I mean, I don't think he's a guy that you're going to rely on to carry your team anymore. But he's a guy that's going to get you somewhere between 15 and 20 points. He's going to rebound. He's going to assist. He's going to play some defense. Like right now, he's averaging 18.3, 7 rebounds, almost 8 rebounds, almost 8 assists. So when I look at teams around the league, I mean, obviously the Knicks keep coming up, and I
of
know
course
you're
it
just
is.
like,
And
what the
the
bleep?
well, the problem is like they want the Knicks to do this trade.
I think that they just want the Knicks to do something. Period. I think, and that's the part about it.
Yes.
And that's the part about it that stinks. Like they want the Knicks. Like obviously the Knicks aren't going to trade for Julius Randle because if they wanted him, they could have just re-signed him years ago when they had
Yep.
him. It
Well,
I
I
can
mean that was
understand.
also due to the LeBron effect. Let's just be honest with that.
Yeah, I can understand them saying, "Hey, we want to get rid of Kemba. We want to get rid of Fournier." As I mentioned in Instagram, the Olympic fire torch has burnt out. Uh, the fire's gone cold, right? The fire's gone cold, right? So I can understand the Knicks saying, "Hey, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna let these two go. We'll bring in Westbrook to, sell a couple more tickets, and kind of go from there." But
Yep.
I can't think of too many teams that are going to be like, "Hey, I want Westbrook, so bad that I'm willing to give up, young assets for him." I just
No.
don't see it.
No. And that's what I don't want the Knicks to do. We can get a really good asset with the veterans that we have on the team.
Yeah. Um, Again, and this is something from, I mentioned yesterday. Obviously, the Rockets would be interested in trading John Wall, but you know, like I said on yesterday, you got to take Eric Gordon and or Daniel Tice as well. And I want a draft pick back. If this is what we're doing,
Hmm.
clear that cap and clear it good. Dang
I
it.
mean, speaking of cap, the Toronto San Antonio deal allowed Toronto to go 3.75 million below the tax bracket.
Hmm.
And San Antonio has been accumulating so many draft picks. Over the next 7 years, they have 9 first round draft picks.
Man, when somebody said that the Thunder had 38 draft picks for the next couple of years, and they finally gave up one to pick up. They trade. I forget who they traded for, but they gave up a second round pick in some random year
Hmm.
to get somebody, and it was like, oh my god, they gave up one. you know, shout out to the Thunder though. I mean, they're really playing it the NBA Live, NBA 2K style. You just load up on as many draft picks as you possibly can, so you can move around, but and I respect that. You know what I mean? Like that's sticking to your guns, sticking to a plan.
Doing the
And
opposite of what the Lakers are doing.
I told you yesterday. I told you yesterday the reason why the Lakers are not good right now is because they have no foundation. Their foundation is built on pretty much just LeBron. Like, hey, LeBron's here. You know what I'm saying? Um, I mean, hey, we got Anthony Davis. Oh, we don't have Anthony Davis. Oh, we got Westbrook. Oh, Westbrook's not the same. Hey, we got Carmelo. Huh, we got Carmelo. So it's just not looking good. So they're ninth in the conference right now. I expect them to somehow turn it up and finish in the bottom two or three of the conference. They'll figure. I mean, because the Clippers are eighth right now, also. So if you look at the playoffs right now, there are a lot of teams that just they're not looking good. The Pelicans are on the brink. They're 10th right now. They bring in some quality players. Obviously, the world is waiting for Zion to return, but when you look at that, the Eastern Conference and where the Nets are, you expected the Nets to be a little higher. So
Yep.
far, they're bad, and here you got James Harden now saying, "Hey, I don't want to play here no more." I mean, I wanted out of Houston, but I mean,
I
the
mean,
grass isn't greener
the
so
the
far.
Nets losing 9 straight games, which is really really bad. And of course, when things start going wrong, that's when you see a lot of the turmoil start to happen.
He's like, the grass isn't greener over here in Brooklyn. I should have just stayed in Houston, which he should have. Honestly, he really should
I
have.
think he should have.
Yeah, because you think about it, James Harden, Jalen Green. I
Well, yeah,
think
probably
it would
wouldn't
have
have
been.
gotten Jalen Green.
Yeah, we would have. We would have. I mean, we were. Are you talking about? Oh yeah, we wouldn't have.
No.
'Cause we would have been. Yeah, yeah, we wouldn't have. We still would have got Kevin Porter Jr. We would have gotten some other players. I mean, it's possible. We still would have made some moves. But you think about it, Kevin Porter Jr. and James Harden would have been a pretty nice tandem to see. With the growth of Jay Sean Tate,
Hmm.
Christian Wood. I just think hey, if Westbrook is the issue, Westbrook is gone. Don't worry about Westbrook no more. You know what I'm saying? We bring in John Wall. You got John Wall to play with. He's like, oh, this team isn't capable of winning a championship. Bro, you guys went to the playoffs and the Western Conference Finals, several years back to back. You go to the Eastern Conference Finals and you're, Kevin Durant big toe away from going to the finals.
Yep.
So now you're saying, hey, I want to go to, Philadelphia. Philadelphia, number 5 seed right now. It's not
They're
going to
not
be the
they're
same.
not as good as people think they are
Yeah,
too.
that right. They're not set to beat the Heat or the Bucks, not even the Bulls. And at
Nope.
this point, you won't beat the freaking Cavs, who nobody's really
imagine
talking about.
imagine imagine people, what, not even a few years ago when LeBron left, you'll see the Cavaliers in the top 4 in the Eastern Conference.
I could see LeBron saying, "Hey, trade me to the Cavs."
If he
Wouldn't
goes
that
back to the
wouldn't
Cap,
yeah,
mm-hmm,
wouldn't that
mm-hmm.
grind your gears?
It's
Yeah,
mm,
don't yeah.
you remember
Pen
that
me a letter.
infamous
Pen me a letter.
you remember that infamous rant that I had
I
during that
do.
first finals?
I
Because you was
do.
in tears laughing, but you knew
I
I was
was.
right.
How
You knew
dare
I
a
was right.
guy say, write this long letter about how, he hopes that he never wins a championship and how Cleveland's going to win a championship before him. And I mean, but that's just the stuff that comes out of Cleveland. Remember, a couple years later, Kyrie said he would never leave Cleveland. And then he was on the first train out to Boston. Hey, I'll never leave Boston. Hey, he's on the first train. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I love Brooklyn. I'm not getting no vaccine though for Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just come on, guys. Like there's no loyalty here. It's all business.
Yep.
But like I said, so far on the home front, no Lakers, no Knicks, no Rockets. Most of the teams are staying put. Warriors, Suns, they're not making many moves. Obviously, the Bucks made a slight, change to pick up, again,
Oh.
somebody who's been in the
So something else
championship.
that just hit on my timeline.
Uh-oh,
Uh,
uh-oh.
so another team that could actually go for Gordon Dragic is the Heat because they are eligible to re-sign him.
Interesting. Being that they, let him roll that one time, they let him roll.
I mean,
Uh,
you don't
I don't
often
know.
hear, people who get bought out go to a team that doesn't have LeBron James on it.
That's true. That's true. That's a dang good point. I don't think they don't need Dragic though. They just need help. I don't know what form of help, but they just need something. And unfortunately, Vogel will be the first one out. Even though he led them to a championship, just a few years ago, he'll be out. And they'll be probably right back where they were, but I don't know how much longer this particular group can stay together. I don't
Wait,
know.
which team?
The Lakers.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah,
how because I mean think about how old they all are. I don't know how long
yeah.
they can stay
He's he
together.
he's he, you talk about Kyrie on that first train. Yeah, he's gonna be on that first train out of here.
Yeah. And then LeBron's already said, he's trying to play until what his son comes into the league and then he's gonna play with him and then he's gonna call it,
He's trying to
you
do
know.
a Griffey,
Yeah.
King
Yeah.
Griffey.
Which is fine. I get it. He's trying to hold on. But not with that team. Everybody's gotta go.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't be
I know. I
surprised if
know
they
it was such a
trade.
meme. Oh well, they're all. Though they all should be traded. Because LeBron's the only person who's safe. Like, no, this is a legit situation of they're not that good.
No, they're not. I wouldn't be
And
surprised
and, and
if
I feel bad for Malik Monk because he signed that 1 year deal.
he sure
And we
did.
were both like, why would you
What are
do
you
that?
doing? What are you doing? Yeah. I haven't heard anything from him since maybe about 2 months ago.
No, he had a decent game, but I believe they still lost.
Mm. Like last night, he played 29 minutes, 7 points, 4 rebounds. But the two games prior, 20 points each, 20 points versus the Bucks, 29 points versus the Knicks.
Hmm.
So he's definitely giving them a spark. But like I said, they just need something, and I don't know if it's Anthony Davis. I don't know what it is, but I mean, should they consider trading Anthony Davis?
No, because if
It's-
they trade Anthony Davis, they're going right back down to a lottery team. Again, I said this after LeBron first went over there. I said this is Anthony Davis's team. People are like,
True.
nah, no, this is LeBron team. Who are you talking about here?
Hmm.
Who's the best?
I
Who's the
don't.
best offensive player? Anthony Davis. Who's the best defensive player? Anthony Davis.
Yeah, this is funny here, and then we'll probably shut it down after this here. Just quick tweet. It says text. He got a text message from a former NBA player this morning, and it said James Harden is going to have a hard time getting a former teammate to introduce him into the Hall of Fame. I'm sure he'll be able to get Mike D'Antoni to do it.
Oh yeah.
Uh, That'll probably be just about it. Or maybe that general manager whose name I won't mention. Well, Johnny, I know that people heard this podcast on their favorite podcast platform, but if they didn't, they can always go to our website at www.debateamongstfriends.com to review this episode as well as all the previous. Be sure to tune in tomorrow as we go over our Super Bowl predictions, as well as the final trades from the deadline, as well as the news, the
No,
analysis,
that'll be Monday. That'll
and
be
the
Monday.
reads.